What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord Dr. Professor Dark Joker here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. Tougen Anki, episode 15. So in this one, the Momotaro learned that Mudano's, in Tokyo. So basically, they want to, of course, go at like they want like some of the Momotaro want Mudano, and then so then the Oni they're all planning to figure out how to you know it, go save like they're trying to save out Kogasaki. So the recon unit goes there, with Shiki and two of his classmates going with the recon unit. And so of course they're setting up like a big fight between you know they're obviously trying to set it between Shiki and you know obviously and his new friend you, Mikado. So, I mean they're saying that like there's even like something about Mikado gets a fortune saying meets someone he'll have a long relationship with, but he says one wrong move could end it, basically hinting that a fight's about to happen. And I'm looking forward to seeing that happen. That should be a fun fight. And of course, they saved Kagasaki, and now they're preparing for the rest of this arc. Overall, yeah, I really like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. Kurumizawa's Folly, Chapter 7. So in this one, um, Yoshikawa, talks with Hada for a little bit, about her background, why she wants to get involved with sci-fi. Basically, she was a fan of sci-fi. She respects like her current employer for like basically being willing to push boundaries, and they bonded over you know old school sci-fi from both stuff targeted for girls and for boys. And then yeah, so because back in the day, sci-fi was just a big genre. Like I mean, that was just a fact. You could, I mean, do the Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, Battlestar Galactica. Those all kickstarted this whole like bunch of sci-fi that came into being. And of course, this manga is like very much inspired by like I guess older style manga with the Balal series in this series being like the old school sci-fi. And so, Yoshikawa wants to work with Sagara and Kurumizawa basically to help, I guess, learn more about how to handle sci-fi. Yeah. And then, so while they're talking, Kurumizawa enters and Yoshikawa says that she was there to return the handkerchief. And basically, so Yoshikawa sees a copy of the law that says Kensaku Hada. And then she said it, then Hawes like, yes. I mean, he knows that he wasn't supposed to use his real name, so he tries to know how she knows it. Because so Yoshikawa sees the Hada's name on his copy of Bilal. And so you have a stray. She chases a stray cat, knocks over some books. Basically makes it so. She then reads like a letter. So then basically that's addressed to Hada. So she suspects what's going on. And then Kurumizawa enters, sees Yoshikawa, and then gives back. She gives back the handkerchief. Kurumizawa offers cookies. And Hada says that she really wants to be Kurumizawa's assistant to be you know basically she he read her side sword that she gave him, and he thought it was good. And then basically Kurumizawa says that there's nothing for her to do for him with, as he calls Hasegawa or two, and that basically doesn't have time to tutor her. And and then Gochiko says instead of cookies, she would like an autograph with a drawing of Bilal by Kurumizawa. Kurumizawa says he doesn't do autographs, and he basically he has one fake circling, so he's never made autographs, which I can understand. I mean, you don't want fake autographs. I mean, that kind of stuff. And then basically she says it's not autographs. It's a learning experience. Hada says he could draw Cyber Joe instead of Bilal. Kurumizawa says that he's tired and asks for a rest, but Kurumizawa does offer to drive Yoshikawa to the station, and she asks if if he was tired, he could have asked Hasegawa to ask Hasegawa to take her to the station. Kurumizawa says no, they're too bad for public transit. And then she and he says, oh, she looks at her phone and says, oh, the train's about to leave. So she thinks, right, then she grabs Hada out of the car. And then and then basically Yoshikawa gives holds these two notes, asks for her name, gives notes to those people, and basically Hada says that he doesn't know this Mr. Ha, and he can't read the name, says Tsukasa Hasegawa, and the one that happens earlier is Hada said the only kanji he can read is for his name and for Kurumizawa. So that confirms it to Yoshikawa's that Hasegawa is actually Hada, and she tells Hada that Kurumizawa is lying to him, setting up Dexter. So looks like they're I don't know how long this series will end, but it looks like they're setting up, you know, obviously a confrontation between the two, like of Hada breaking free from Kurumizawa, having to go out and zone all that. Like they're setting it up like a confrontation between them. And I guess Kurumizawa now suspects that Yoshikawa suspects. Overall, yeah, I really like the chapter. I like how they're setting up Yoshikawa as a potential antagonist for all of it. I'm guessing either she's gonna get an assistant job in order to pay for her silence, or she's gonna, you know, Hada and Kurumizawa are gonna have their confrontation. Either way, I really like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Shabake episode 4. So this episode mostly focuses on flashback. You have Nikichi and Sasuke are, reminiscing of, I guess, early on when they were guarding Ichitaro. Like basically when he was a kid, he went missing, so they spent time trying to find him. Basically, he saved this kid named it's like Shogoro. Then there's a whole bit they're trying to go around, and then yeah, so you have all this basically them being baby, the two main spirits being like babysitters. It's kind of funny, and yeah, so establish how like I guess they didn't really like each other when they started up, but became I guess decent friends by the present. So yeah, I like this episode. Looking forward to the next one. House of Dynamite. So this is a new movie on Netflix. It was in some select theaters, but I wasn't able to see it in theaters, so it appeared on Netflix, today. Basically, what happens here? So you have Idris Elba playing the President of the United States. Then you have all these different people in his administration. Basically, what happens is an ICBM missile is launched in the air. Basically, intelligence is not able to figure out where it came from. They still it came from somewhere in the Pacific. And basically, the missile's heading towards Chicago. So basically, all the officials are like in the military, intelligence, or communications are arguing about how to handle it. President's is stressed out. So different people are evacuated. So you have some of your major characters. You have Captain Olivia Walker, who's senior officer in the Situation Room. Deputy National Security Advisor Jake Barrington. Secretary of Defense Reed Baker. General Anthony Brady, the combatant commander of U.S. Stratcom, Major Daniel Gonzalez, Kathy Rogers, like a female official, Commander Robert Reeves, and then you have Anna Park, Admiral Mark Miller. You have all these different people trying to handle the situation, and so different adversaries, the U.S. are basically mobilizing some of their units to retaliate if the U.S. sends a missile after any of them. The U.S. hasn't identified who does it. So throughout this, you have the president trying to figure out what to do. So Russia calls, says they promises they don't do it, and threatens retaliation if Russia's targeted. Basically, the president is told he needs to pick out either some retaliation plans. Basically, it's either gets to the point where like there ain't a lot of good options, and so eventually the ICB so Secretary of Defense Baker basically he's unable to get his daughter out of Chicago before it can hit. So Baker commits suicide by jumping off the roof of the Pentagon. It yeah. And then President calls his wife who's in Africa, I guess for some charity work. Then he asks Reeves like to help him figure out what choice to make. So Reeves gives him his options. The president decides for himself. And basically the missiles like approach an impact. And it like it cuts to black. Like before, like we know whether or not the missile had hit, before we know what the president did. what choice he made. We don't know. It just ends. I mean, I watched. I was like, this is it. This is freaking it. And one thing is, we never learned who actually shot the missile. I mean, I was like, this is a freaking cop out. Like, and I don't think this is like a movie that's like they intend to make a sequel to. Like, one, here's what they should have done. They should have explained who shot the missile. That should have been explained. Two, they should have actually shown, the president's decision and the fallout of it. That should have been shown. This is just they just didn't want to write it. This is what it seems like. The writers just didn't want to write it. Like that is retarded. I mean, what we got was interesting, but it's like if we actually got a complete story, this would have been a decent movie. But the lack of an ending, the fact it just ends like that, like that's not an ending. It's a freaking cop out. That's like if you run. That's what you get after you run out of tape. So yeah, I'm not happy with how they ended it, and that lowers my score considerably. But yeah, so yeah, I can't really say I recommend watching this on Netflix. And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.